He may even identify himself with it and believe that he is what he appears to be.
Welcome to the NCE Study Guide. I created this study guide using ChatGPT and Notebook LM. So think of these modules as AI-powered audio flashcards. Each one of these 20 modules contains 10 mock questions, representing the kind of questions that you might encounter on the National Counseling exam. I created this primarily for myself, and I decided to make these available to anyone else who might benefit from this kind of study aid. But please note, while I have done my best to ensure that these modules align with NCE content, I encourage you to cross-reference them with trusted study guides and resources for the most accurate preparation. These modules are not affiliated with or endorsed by the NBCC or any official licensing board. So, with no further ado, here are your AI study buddies from Notebook LM. Enjoy!
Welcome back to our NCE Prep Deep Dive. Can you believe we're on Module 20 already?
Wow, yeah.
The final stretch.
It's been quite a journey getting you ready for the exam with these deep dives into each module.
Like AI-powered audio flashcards almost.
Right. Each module broken down, key concepts explained, and tackling those, tricky multiple choice questions head on.
Definitely.
So today, we're going deep on those last 10 questions from Module 20, ready to put that knowledge to the test and really solidify your understanding.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay, question 191. Which theory emphasizes that humans are motivated by an innate drive toward growth and fulfillment, given the right conditions?
The options are A, psychoanalytic theory,
B, behaviorism,
C, humanistic theory.
D, rational emotive behavior therapy.
So, lots to unpack there.
Yeah. Let's start with psychoanalytic theory. Going deep into the unconscious, dreams, desires, those unresolved childhood conflicts, all that.
Freud, the Oedipus complex.
Yeah. Exactly. Heavy stuff. But crucial to understand, even if, you don't fully subscribe to all of it. Okay, next is behaviorism. All about external factors shaping behavior. Rewards, punishments, conditioning.
Like Pavlov's dogs and that bell.
Yeah, very practical approach, focusing on those observable behaviors and how we learn.
Exactly.
Now, humanistic theory takes a more optimistic view, emphasizing that inherent potential for growth, self-actualization.
Yeah, like a plant reaching for the sunlight, given the right conditions.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
And finally, rational emotive behavior therapy, or REBT. This one focuses on the power of our thoughts, how our beliefs shape our emotions.
It's about challenging those irrational beliefs, replacing them with more rational and helpful ones.
A cognitive restructuring,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Reframing those negative thought patterns.
Exactly.
All right, so back to the question. Which theory emphasizes that humans are motivated by an innate drive toward growth and fulfillment, given the right conditions?
The answer is C, humanistic theory, all about self-actualization, and that we can all thrive if our basic needs are met.
And if we have the support, right?
Right.
Okay, on to question 192, ethical principles now. Which of the following describes the ethical principle of autonomy?
Here are your options. A, acting in the client's best interest.
B, treating all clients fairly and equitably.
C, avoiding harm to clients.
D, respecting the client's right to make their own decisions.
Okay, so lots to consider here, ethically speaking.
Right. Let's start with A, acting in the client's best interest. That seems like, the core of counseling, right?
Definitely. Our responsibility is to their well-being, helping them make good choices, protecting them from harm.
But what happens when their best interest, in their view, clashes with what we might see as beneficial? That's tricky.
Yeah, for sure. Ethical dilemmas are everywhere, balancing our judgment with their right to decide for themselves.
Right. Okay, B, treating all clients fairly and equitably. That seems, pretty straightforward.
It should be, but we have to be so aware of our own biases, systemic inequalities, power dynamic.
That's a constant effort, yeah.
Definitely. Fairness is something we have to actively create.
Now, option C, avoiding harm to clients. The cornerstone, right, of any helping profession.
Absolutely. Do no harm. That's foundational. We have to be mindful of the impact of everything we do. Prioritize their safety above all else.
And D, respecting the client's right to make their own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
That ties back to that tricky situation we were talking about.
Yes, autonomy. Even if we don't agree with their choices. As long as they're not hurting themselves or others, we have to respect that.
Empowering them to, live their own lives.
Exactly.
So which of the following describes the ethical principle of autonomy?
The answer is D, respecting the client's right to make their own decisions.
Okay, on to question 193. Stages of change. Which stage of Prochaska and DiClementi's trans-theoretical model of change involves maintaining progress and preventing relapse?
You have A, contemplation.
B, preparation.
C, action. So before we jump into the stages, what's this model all about? Just a quick reminder.
Right. The trans-theoretical model, or the stages of change model. It's about how people modify a behavior or adopt a new one.
It recognizes that change. It's a process.
Not a one-time thing, yeah.
Right, like climbing a mountain. Stages along the way.
Perfect analogy.
So first, contemplation. That's the thinking about it stage.
Aware of the problem, but not ready to commit.
Exactly. Like knowing you should exercise, but hitting that snooze button.
Oh, I feel that.
Then comes preparation, getting ready to take action.
Making plans, setting goals.
You've joined the gym, bought new workout clothes, told everyone you're starting Monday.
Yep.
Then action, putting the plan into motion.
Walking the walk.
And finally, maintenance. This is the long haul. Sustaining those changes, preventing relapse.
It's about making that change a part of your life, not just a temporary thing.
Right. Now the question, which stage of Prochaska and DiClementi's trans-theoretical model of change involves maintaining progress and preventing relapse?
The answer is D, maintenance.
Crucial for long-term success. In any change, remember, setbacks happen. It's about persistence.
Okay, question 194. Psychosocial development.
Oh,
In Erikson's psychosocial stages, what is the primary conflict during early childhood? Ages 3 to 5.
the options. A, trust versus mistrust.
B, autonomy versus shame and doubt.
C, initiative versus guilt.
D, industry versus inferiority.
Okay, so remember Erikson's theory. We go through these psychosocial crises throughout life, shaping our personality and sense of self.
Like a roadmap, yeah, of development.
Each stage, a challenge. Overcoming it builds skills and strengths. So A, trust versus mistrust. That's way back, infancy.
Learning to trust caregivers to meet basic needs.
Okay.
Right? Food, comfort, security.
Exactly. If those needs are met, they develop trust in the world. If not, mistrust and anxiety, affecting future relationships.
That foundation.
Right. B, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Toddlerhood now.
Think toddlers asserting independence. Walking, talking, potty training, exploring, pushing boundaries.
Lots of growth, if encouraged. Autonomy and confidence. But if they're criticized or controlled, shame and doubt.
Okay, C, initiative versus guilt. This is the 3 to 5 age range.
Preschoolers, becoming imaginative, curious, eager to, take initiative.
Building forts, putting on plays.
Exactly. If that's encouraged, sense of purpose. But if they're shut down, guilt, hesitation to take risks.
Okay, D, industry versus inferiority. Elementary school years.
Ages 6 to 11, mastering skills, succeeding in school, comparing themselves to peers, building competence if they're encouraged. A sense of industry, capable of achieving goals, but if they struggle, inferiority, doubt in their abilities.
So to recap, in Erikson's psychosocial stages, what is the primary conflict during early childhood, ages 3 to 5?
The answer is C, initiative versus guilt, that balance between encouraging curiosity and exploration while helping them understand responsibility too.
Okay, one more in this section. Question 195, psychological testing. Which of the following best describes the term reliability in testing?
The options. A, the degree to which a test measures what it claims to measure.
B, the consistency of a test's results, over time or across administrations.
C, the ability of a test to predict future outcomes.
D, the extent to which a test covers the intended content.
So this is about knowing if a test is, actually good, useful.
Makes sense.
When choosing assessments, we need to be sure they're reliable and valid.
Okay, A, the degree to which a test measures what it claims to measure. That's super important.
Absolutely, that's validity. If it's supposed to measure intelligence, but it's really measuring, say, cultural knowledge, that's a problem.
Misleading.
Yeah.
Potentially harmful even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, B, the consistency of a test results, that's reliability.
So if I take the same test twice, should get similar scores. Or if different people give the test, consistent results.
Precisely. Reliable test, dependable results, like a scale, always gives you an accurate weight.
Makes sense. Option C, the ability to predict future outcomes.
Predictive validity, like the SATs, designed to predict college performance.
Right, so how well do the scores match up with what actually happens?
Yes, real-world outcomes. And D, the extent to which a test covers the content.
So like a driving test should cover all the driving skills, not just, say, parallel parking.
Right. Content validity. Comprehensive, accurately reflecting what it's measuring.
So the question, which of the following best describes the term reliability in testing?
The answer is B, the consistency of a test's results. Over time or across administrations.
Consistent, dependable results.
Exactly. Back for more. Module 20, 5 more questions.
Ready for them. Hit me. Question 196. What is the primary focus of Adlerian therapy?
All right. The options are A, uncovering unconscious conflicts.
B, understanding the impact of birth order and fostering social interest.
C, restructuring distorted thoughts.
And D, teaching relaxation techniques.
So, Adler, quite the thinker.
Yeah, let's unpack this. Option A, uncovering unconscious conflicts. Sounds a bit like psychoanalytic theory, right? With the unconscious mind and all that.
You're right, there's a connection. Psychoanalytic theory definitely influenced Adler, but Adlerian therapy goes beyond just uncovering those conflicts. It's more about understanding how early experiences, especially in the family, shape our lifestyle and choices.
Okay, interesting. So option B, understanding the impact of birth order and fostering social interest. What's that about?
Well, Adler believed our position in the family, like oldest, middle, youngest, only child, really impacts our personality, how we see the world. He also emphasized social interest, that drive to connect, contribute, belong.
So like the oldest is responsible, the middle's adaptable, the youngest is the free spirit.
Those are definitely some stereotypes. But yeah, it's more nuanced than that. Adlerian therapy helps people see how those family dynamics are playing out in their lives now, recognizing patterns, creating healthier relationships, and that sense of belonging.
Fascinating. Option C, restructuring distorted thoughts. That's got to be cognitive therapy, right?
You're spot on. Cognitive therapy is all about thoughts influencing emotions and behaviors. Adlerian therapy acknowledges thoughts, but it's not the main thing. It's more about the motivations and goals behind them.
Gotcha. And option D, teaching relaxation techniques. That's more behavioral therapy territory, right?
Yeah.
Deep breathing, that kind of thing.
Right. Relaxation techniques are great, especially for anxiety. But not the core of Adlerian therapy. It might be used, but the focus is on understanding the person's lifestyle, goals, their way of interacting with the world.
Okay, summing up. What is the primary focus of Adlerian therapy?
The answer is B, understanding the impact of birth order and fostering social interest. Early family dynamics, belonging, finding your place in the world. That's Adlerian therapy in a nutshell.
Love it. On to question 197. This one's about therapeutic techniques. Which term describes the process of reducing anxiety by gradually exposing clients to feared stimuli while teaching relaxation techniques?
All right, here we go. A, flooding.
B, systematic desensitization.
C, cognitive restructuring.
And D, mindfulness training.
Anxiety busting time.
Let's do it. Option A, flooding. What does that even sound like?
Imagine someone thrown into the deep end of a pool, terrified of water.
Yikes.
Right. Flooding means exposing the client to their biggest fear, full intensity, all at once. The idea is they'll realize it's not that bad, anxiety goes down, but, not for everyone.
Intense, like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Well, definitely needs a skilled clinician, someone who can assess the client carefully.
Okay, option B, systematic desensitization. Sounds a bit more approachable.
It is gradual. You create this hierarchy of fears, starting small, working up to the scariest thing. Each step, the client learns relaxation techniques.
So like afraid of spiders. Start with pictures, then a video, finally a real spider. All while learning to stay calm, breathe.
Exactly. Desensitizing step by step. Way gentler than flooding.
Makes sense. Option C, cognitive restructuring. We've heard that before with REBT.
Yep, a key technique there. Challenging negative thoughts, replacing them with more balanced, realistic ones.
So like, I'm going to fail this exam becomes, I'm prepared, I'll do my best.
That's the idea. Change how we think, change how we feel.
And lastly, option D, mindfulness training. How does that work for anxiety?
Mindfulness is about being present. Noticing your thoughts, feelings, without judgment. Like anxiety comes, you observe it, you don't get swept away.
So instead of fighting it, you kind of make friends with it.
In a way, yeah. You see it, you accept it, it helps you spot your triggers, the physical sensations, and just ride the wave.
Okay, the question. Which term describes the process of reducing anxiety by gradually exposing clients to feared stimuli while teaching relaxation techniques?
It's B, systematic desensitization. Step by step with relaxation. Facing fears in a safe way, building confidence.
Got it. Gradual exposure, relaxation, that's the key.
On to question 198. Back to cognitive therapy. In cognitive therapy, which term refers to deeply ingrained and automatic beliefs that influence emotions and behaviors?
Here are your options. A, Cognitive distortions.
B, core beliefs.
C, automatic thoughts.
And D, schemas.
This one sounds pretty complex. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
Option A, cognitive distortions. What are those exactly?
They're like thinking traps, mental shortcuts that lead to inaccurate or exaggerated thinking, often automatic, unconscious, but they really affect our mood, our actions.
Give me an example.
Catastrophizing. Imagine the worst possible thing happening. Like, you get a bad grade, you think, I'm a failure, I'll never graduate, my life is over.
Oh, yeah, I know that one. Like, your brain just goes to the worst case scenario no matter what.
Right. It can really trap us in negativity. Option B, core beliefs. These are a bit different.
How so?
Core beliefs are fundamental.
Yeah.
About ourselves, others, the world. They develop over time, often from childhood, positive or negative. It's how we see things.
So if someone always heard they weren't good enough, they might believe that deep down, affecting their relationships, self-esteem.
Exactly. They're ingrained, hard to change. But cognitive therapy can help challenge them, replace them with something more positive.
Okay, option C, automatic thoughts. How do those fit in?
Automatic thoughts are quick. They pop up in response to something, often tied to our core beliefs. And they can lead to those cognitive distortions we talked about.
So if your core belief is, I'm not good enough, you might think, I'm going to mess this up before a presentation.
Exactly. We believe them so easily, don't even question them. Cognitive therapy helps us become more aware of them and, well, challenge them.
And last one, option D, schemas. What are those?
Schemas are like mental frameworks, blueprints for organizing our experiences, beliefs, values, memories, expectations.
Like mental filing cabinets for the world.
Right. They can guide us, help us predict things,
Right.
but sometimes they get rigid, inflexible, and that's when the distorted thinking, the emotional distress comes in.
So like a schema that says relationships are dangerous
Yeah.
might lead someone to sabotage their relationships, avoid intimacy.
Right. Schemas shape how we see things, react to things, especially sensitive areas, past hurts. Cognitive therapy can help with that, developing healthier ways to relate.
Okay, so in cognitive therapy, which term refers to deeply ingrained and automatic beliefs that influence emotions and behaviors?
The answer is B, core beliefs.
Because they're like the root of it all, influencing everything else.
Exactly. Onward to question 199. Shifting gears to narrative therapy. What is the primary goal of narrative therapy?
Here are the options. A, identifying cognitive distortions.
B, reshaping personal stories to emphasize strengths and resilience.
C, analyzing early childhood experiences.
And D, exploring unconscious motivations.
Okay, narrative therapy. Sounds interesting. What's the basic idea?
It's all about stories. We create meaning through the stories we tell ourselves, tell others. Problems are separate from who we are. We're not our struggles.
So not about digging into the past or changing thoughts. It's about telling a new story, a better one.
Exactly. Option A, identifying cognitive distortions. Cognitive therapy again.
Not the focus here, right?
Right. Narrative therapy knows our thoughts matter, but it's not about changing them directly. It's about the stories themselves, how they shape our view of things.
Okay. Option B, reshaping personal stories to emphasize strengths and resilience. That sounds more like it.
It is. Narrative therapy helps clients find their strengths, their resilience, their agency, even when things are tough.
So you become the hero of your own story. Focus on courage, growth, not just the bad stuff.
Exactly. Shifting from I'm broken to I'm a survivor, I'm still growing.
Love that. What about option C, analyzing early childhood experiences?
That's more psychodynamic therapy territory, right?
Makes sense. Past experiences matter, but
But it's not about the deep unconscious stuff or analyzing everything. It's about how those experiences fit into the story now, how they're affecting things.
and D, exploring unconscious motivations, another psychodynamic concept.
Right. Narrative therapy is more about what we're aware of, how we make meaning, empowering clients to tell their own stories, rewrite the limiting ones, and create something new, something hopeful.
So the question, what is the primary goal of narrative therapy?
It's B, reshaping personal stories to emphasize strengths and resilience, finding new ways to tell our stories, focusing on the good, the strong parts.
This is all making so much more sense. Okay, last question for this section, 200. What is the primary purpose of using a genogram in counseling?
And here are the options. A, to measure a client's cognitive abilities.
Okay, B, to explore family relationships and patterns across generations.
C, to identify career interests and preferences.
And finally, D, to assess a client's social support network.
Genograms, fascinating stuff.
Right, but first, what is a genogram? A refresher.
It's like a family tree, but amped up. It maps relationships, medical history, key events over generations.
So helpful. You see the whole picture, the family dynamics.
Exactly. You might see, for instance, a history of anxiety in the family, something to explore with the client.
Right. So option A, to measure cognitive abilities, that's not it.
Nope. That's psychological tests, things like IQ tests.
Okay. Option B, to explore family relationships and patterns across generations. That sounds more like it.
You got it. Genograms are all about family dynamics, how they affect the client today, seeing the bigger picture, those patterns that might be causing trouble.
Option C, to identify career interests and preferences. Nope, that's career counseling.
Exactly. Different tools for that.
And option D, to assess a client's social support network. A genogram shows the family, but not necessarily how close they are or who else is supporting the client.
Good point. It's mainly about those family relationships, those patterns.
So, final answer. What is the primary purpose of using a genogram in counseling?
B, to explore family relationships and patterns across generations. It helps us understand the client's life story, those recurring themes, the challenges they're facing.
Okay, I think our brains need a break. That's a wrap on Module 20. We've covered a ton of stuff, from theories of personality to ethical dilemmas to assessment tools.
I hope you're feeling more prepared to take on that NCE.
Remember, practice those questions, trust in what you've learned, and you'll do great.
We're proud of you for making it to the end of this series.
Best luck on your exam. You got this.
1, 2, 3.
Nice to be in orbit.